Welcome, seventh graders, to Miss Maya Talks podcast. I'm your host, Miss Maya, and today we are going to be talking about the interactions among living things. So let's get to it. Chapter 21, Section 3, Interactions Among Living Things. Can you imagine living in a cactus? Ouch, you probably wouldn't want to live in a house covered with sharp spines, but many species live in, on, and around a saguaro cactus. As day breaks, a twittering sound comes from the nest tucked into one of the saguaro's arms. Two young red-tailed hawks are preparing to fly for the first time. Farther down the stem, a tiny elf owl peeks out of its nest in a small hole. The owl is so small it could fit in the palm of your hand. A rattlesnake slithers around the base of the saguaro, looking for lunch. Spying a shrew, the snake strikes with its needle-like fangs. The shrew dies instantly. Activity around the saguaro continues after sunset. Long-nosed bats come out to feed on the nectar from the saguaro's blossoms. The bats stick their faces into the flowers to feed, dusting their long snouts with white pollen. As they move from plant to plant, they carry the pollen to other saguaros. This enables the cactuses to reproduce. Adapting to the environment, each organism in the saguaro community has unique characteristics. These characteristics affect the individual's ability to survive in the environment. Natural selection. A characteristic that makes an individual better suited to its environment may eventually become common in that species through a process called natural selection. Natural selection works like this. Individuals whose unique characteristics are best suited to their environment tend to survive and produce more offspring. Offspring that inherit these characteristics also live to reproduce. In this way, natural selection results in adaptations, the behaviors and physical characteristics that allow organisms to live successfully in their environments. Individuals with characteristics that are poorly suited to the environment are less likely to survive and reproduce. Over time, poorly suited characteristics may disappear from the species. Niche. Every organism has a variety of adaptations that are suited to its specific living conditions. The organisms in the saguaro community have adaptations that result in specific roles. The role of an organism in its habitat, or how it makes its living, is called its niche. A niche includes the type of food the organism eats, how it obtains food, and which other organisms use that organism as food. A niche also includes when and how the organism reproduces and the physical conditions it requires to survive. Competition. During a typical day in the saguaro community, a range of interactions takes place among organisms. There are three major types of interactions among organisms: competition, predation, and symbiosis. Different species can share the same habitat and food requirements. For example, the roadrunner and the elf owl both live on the saguaro and eat insects. However, these two species do not occupy the exact same niche. The roadrunner is active during the day while the owl is active mostly at night. If two species occupy the same niche, one of the species will eventually die off. The reason for this is competition, the struggle between organisms to survive as they attempt to use the same limited resource. In any ecosystem, there's a limited amount of food, water, and shelter. Organisms that survive have adaptations that enable them to reduce competition. For example, the three species of warblers live in the same spruce forest and habitat. They all eat insects and live in the spruce trees. How do the birds avoid competing for limited insect supply? Each warbler specializes in feeding in a certain part of the spruce tree. This is how the three species coexist, with the yellow rumpled warbler near the base of the tree, the bay-breasted warbler in the middle part of the tree, and the Cape May warbler at the top of the tree. Predation. A tiger shark lurks below the surface of the clear blue water looking for shadows of albatross chicks floating above. The shark spots a chick and silently swims closer. Suddenly the shark bursts through the water and seizes the albatross with one snap of its powerful jaws. This interaction between two organisms has an unfortunate ending for the albatross. An interaction in which one organism kills another for food is called predation. The organism that does the killing, in this case the tiger shark, is the predator, and the organism that is killed, in this case the albatross, is the prey. Predator adaptations. Predators have adaptations that help them to catch and kill their prey. For example, a cheetah can run very fast for a short time, enabling it to catch more prey. A jellyfish's tentacles contain a poisonous substance that paralyzes tiny water animals. Some plants, too, have adaptations for catching prey. The sundew is covered with sticky bulbs on stalks, and when a fly lands on the plant, it remains snared in the sticky goo while the plant digests it. Some predators have adaptations that enable them to hunt at night. For example, the big eyes of an owl let in as much light as possible to help it see in the dark. Insect-eating bats can hunt without seeing at all. Instead, they locate their prey by producing pulses of sound and listening for the echoes of the sound as it comes back to them. This precise method enables a bat to catch a flying moth in complete darkness. Prey adaptations. How do organisms avoid being killed by such effective predators? Organisms have many kinds of adaptations that can help them avoid becoming prey. The alertness and speed of an antelope helps protect it from predators, and you're probably not surprised that the smelly spray of a skunk helps keep its predators at a distance. Symbiosis. Many of the interactions in the saguaro community that we talked about earlier involve symbiosis. Symbiosis is a close relationship between two species that benefits at least one of the species. The three types of symbiotic relationships are mutualism, commensalism, and parasitism. Mutualism, a relationship in which both species benefit, is called mutualism. The relationship between the saguaro and the long-eared bats is an example of mutualism. The bats benefit because the cactus flowers provide them with food. The saguaro benefits as its pollen is carried to another plant on the bat's nose. In some cases of mutualism, two species are so dependent on each other that neither could live without the other. This is true of some species of acacia trees and the stinging ants in Central and South America. The stinging ants nest only in the acacia tree, whose thorns discourage the ants' predators. The tree also provides the ants only food. The ants in turn attack other animals that approach the tree and clear competing plants away from the base of the tree. To survive, each species needs the other. Commensalism, a relationship in which one species benefits and the other species is neither helped nor harmed, is called commensalism. The red-tailed hawk's interaction with the saguaro is an example of commensalism. The hawks benefit by having a place to build their nest, while the cactus is not affected by the hawks at all. Commensalism is not very common in nature because two species are usually either helped or harmed a little by an interaction with another species. For example, by creating a small hole for its nest in the cactus stem, the elf owl slightly damages the cactus. Parasitism. Parasitism involves one organism living on or inside another organism and harming it. The organism that benefits is called a parasite, and the organism that lives on or in it is called the host. The parasite is usually smaller than the host. In a parasitic relationship, the parasite benefits from the interaction while the host is harmed. Some common parasites are fleas, ticks, and leeches. These parasites have adaptations that enable them to attach to their host and feed on its blood. Other parasites live inside the host body, such as tapeworms that live inside the digestive system of dogs, wolves, and some other mammals. Unlike a predator, a parasite does not usually kill the organism it feeds on. If the host dies, then the parasite loses its source of food. An interesting example of this role is known by a species of mite that lives in the ears of moths. The mites almost always live in just one of the moth's ears. If they lived in both ears, the moth's hearing would be so badly affected that it likely would be quickly caught and eaten by a predator.